Well, there is another race. It's in the Washington State, right? That's the Apple, right? Washington State up there, Seattle, Boeing and all that. Washington State has the 8th Congressional District. There is an incumbent Republican named Dave Reichert. Dave Reichert, not a good guy. If you want to try and flip another district, let's talk to Jason Ritchie, who is a Democratic candidate against Dave Reichert. Jason, thanks for being on the Norman Goldman Show.
Thanks for the opportunity, Norm. I appreciate it.
Well, Jason, I just want you to know that your website and some comments about you are now on our social media sites, on our Facebook page, The Norman Goldman Show on Facebook, and in our Twitter feed at Norman Goldman, as well as our blog, so people can go see your website, see what you're about and all of that. But, Jason, you spell your last name R-I-T-C-H-I-E, and you're running against Dave Reichert. Where is the 8th District of Washington State?
Thanks, Norm. It is they call it the Bridge District. It's the only purple district, third Republican, third Independent, third Democrat, in the state of Washington. It is the eastern suburbs of Seattle, towns like Auburn, Issaquah, Sammamish, some smaller towns over the Cascades now. The Cascade Mountains run through the middle part of the state of Washington, north to south. So we've got apple orchards in Wenatchee. We have college students down at Central Washington University in Ellensburg. We've got a really diverse, wide-ranging district. It's about 4.5 hours to get from one end to the other, frankly. And it's very diverse. It's a purple district, and we're doing everything we can to make it competitive, and we've made it into a really tight race.
Well, Jason, what is it that Dave Reichert has done or not done that you're unhappy with and you'll do differently if you get to the House of Representatives?
Well, he's one of those guys that seems to want to just get out there and side with the Tea Party, but doesn't want to be held accountable for it, Norm. That's his big issue. He voted for the government shutdown last year. That's what got me inspired. I'm in accessible construction. I build wheelchair ramps and lifts for people with physical challenges, and I work with the Small Business Administration every day. When you shut down the government, you shut down small business access to those SBA loans. That's a partisan act, and they took money out of my pocket, and I had people waiting in the hospital to go home while people like Reichert and the Republicans were shutting down our government. I thought that was just completely crazy and inspired me to get in the race. That act firmed up some things. Come to find out that he wants to privatize Social Security. He wants to cut Medicare. He's trying to get away from immigration reform. Comprehensive immigration reform is a huge issue in this district. He voted against equal pay for women. He has no jobs plan, no education plan, and he refuses to debate our campaign on any issue. It's been really difficult to pin him down, and we've been all over him.
Well, Jason, let me ask you this. I see from your website that you've taken some very good positions on issues that most Democrats really like. You're against the Trans-Pacific Partnership. You're in favor of raising the minimum wage. What other issues are signature issues for you that you think will resonate with the folks in the 8th Congressional District of Washington?
Well, my big issue from the get-go here has been jobs. Middle-class living wage jobs. I've said repeatedly this simple phrase: a fully employed middle class being paid a living wage pays down our debts and supports our social safety net. That idea of creating jobs. A Democrat wants to take our tax cuts, pool it all together, get those tax cuts, get those monies together, put them into an infrastructure reinvestment program, and get people back to work. You build new roads, new bridges, new highways, new fiber optic networks, new schools. Those jobs that are created from those infrastructure reinvestment programs are local, living wage, skilled trade jobs, carpenters, like people that I work with every day. They spend their money locally at local gas stations, local supermarkets. They're buying a new truck locally. They know they're spending their money locally. And what happens when you rebuild that infrastructure? You're growing your tax base. Local businesses want to come in and they want to build new businesses in those new areas where we have new infrastructure reinvestment. That's my idea for what we should do to rebuild this country. And it all starts with an idea that we must get away from this idea of austerity. We need to spend money. We need to get going. We need to boost our economy. And we have private businesses raring to go to make that happen. And it's the House GOP that's stopping it.
You and I are talking to Jason Ritchie. His last name is spelled R-I-T-C-H-I-E. And I've given you a couple of easy ways to get to know him. You can just go to Jason Ritchie, or let me get it right, RitchieForCongress.com, R-I-T-C-H-I-E, forcongress.com, or you can go to any of our social media sites, our Facebook page, our Twitter feed, or our blog, and it's all right there. Jason Ritchie, the Democratic candidate for the House of Representatives from Washington State. Now, Jason, I see that you're against fracking, and you're in favor of the gun registration and closing the gun show loophole initiative in Washington, I-594. The NRA is against that, and they're in favor of their own I-591. Is this your first run for electoral office? I mean, you seem to be a really good Democrat.
It is my first run for elected office, and that is accurate. I think that the gun initiative on the ballot here is a very important statewide measure. It's getting a lot of attention, and I am strong. I'm a gun owner. I own a gun. I went through a background check, a federally mandated background check, and I-594 simply says we will expand that background check to purchases made outside of a retail establishment, internet purchases, gun show loopholes, things like that. You go to buy a gun and look at a gun show, you're a bad guy, you don't have a background check. That has to be stopped. We have countless instances like that where we could have stopped criminals from getting guns, and that's what 594 does. It's created a lot of division here in the state, and my opponent is a former sheriff of the largest county in the state, King County, and he has refused to take a position on 594. And I'm astounded by how he's been essentially given a free pass on that issue. Any sane person would get behind 594. Any good gun owner would get behind 594. It makes people with criminal backgrounds not eligible to buy guns.
Well, Jason, I gather you understand how the House of Representatives works in Washington, D.C. Whoever has the majority runs the place with an iron fist. Have you found from your research on Dave Reichert, the current Republican congressman from the 8th District, that he has basically just done what the leadership of the Republican Party tells him to do, and he's just a party line vote, a backbencher? They just count on him. He has no independence. He doesn't buck the leadership. He doesn't tell them, no, I'm not with you on this one. He's just another vote that John Boehner can take advantage of and count on to get his standard agenda through. I mean, has the guy shown any independence at all to try and serve his own constituency, or is he just another nameless, faceless vote for John Boehner's agenda?
He has voted with the Tea Party majority every single time. I will say this, because it's a purple district, there are instances where the Republican majority knows it has more than enough votes to pass a bill or to kill a bill. They will let people like Reichert that have purple districts, that have to have competitive voting records, they will release him to vote with an independent vote here and there, only when it doesn't matter, Norm. That's the part that makes me, you study these votes, you get involved in these campaigns, you watch how these politicians, they will vote to slash NIH funding, and then they'll come right back and say, oh, but I voted to pass it, I voted to back up that funding. They knew that bill wasn't going to pass, but they can hide behind their votes. And I've watched that happen repeatedly. Dave Reichert voted to cut $40 billion from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the food stamp program. Came right back and said, I voted to fund it. Completely crazy. One vote says you're going to cut it. One vote says you're going to supply it or refund it. The vote that passed voted to cut it. So these records are out there, and we need to hold them accountable across the country. But Reichert is one of those Tea Party Republicans.
We're talking to Jason Ritchie, R-I-T-C-H-I-E. Check him out at ritchieforcongress.com, or just look at our Facebook page or Twitter feed, or go into our blog, the Justice for You blog at normangoldman.com. The links are all right there, easy to get to, easy to see. And Jason, I really like what you've done. You've put a side-by-side comparison of you and Dave Reichert and the key positions on the key issues, just side-by-side. And it's really quite a stark contrast. How are you getting received in the district? Are people there giving you a good look? Are they just saying, sorry, I'm a Dave Reichert guy, and don't waste your time? I mean, what do you think the chances are?
To be honest with you, I've been amazingly well received. It's been wonderful so far. We have rolling elections in Washington State, so people have their ballots in hand right now, and they're due on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. So people are voting as we speak, and I've been running full speed ahead with our persuasion phone calls. I don't have a lot of money. We're not running a big commercial program. Reichert had Newt Gingrich out here to run a series of fundraisers for him where he raised a ton of money. And I'll tell you right now, Norm, whatever the result here is in this upcoming election, we're going to be there again in 2016. We're not stopping. We're going to run straight on through.
Jason, I really appreciate you being part of the team. And, look, I love your positions on the issues. I got to move along, but I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we can, have our little piece and you can flip your district. I know the people of Washington are largely sane, and I hope they're paying attention. Jason Ritchie, Ritchie. Check him out at ritchieforcongress.com, or just check out our social media sites. Get to know this guy. Give him some help. See if you're in that district or anywhere near that district, go in this weekend, help out, and do what you can to, take away another teabagging Republican. Jason, best of luck to you. I'll keep an eye on you on Tuesday. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
There you go, Jason Ritchie. Look, we tried to flip one district. Maybe we can get two. It's a bonus, but it's up to people to pay attention. And I'm sorry to say that most Americans don't pay attention. Now, just a last note here. The website, Jason Ritchie for Congress, is the freshest link on our Facebook page right now, Ritchie. But if you go to the Norman Goldman Show on Facebook, you'll see the link. If you go into our blog, you go into Twitter, I'm going to leave it there as long as I can, so to give you a chance to get to know this guy. He's very impressive. And, he might just do it. You never know unless you try. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of passion.